Hi, Linda. Good to be with you again.
Hi, Andre. I told everybody I was going to be with you today. People are excited.
Yeah, we're back to discuss all the problems of the world, and there are many, definitely. Um, I found May, it starts to get tiresome and irritating. I mean, the way the Trump and the Republicans. I mean, this thing that he does, it's just like a barfy, horrible feeling watching the North Korea thing. He's sitting there and then spends 10 minutes talking about the pool, goes completely off on a tangent, and they're all sitting around them totally silent, not saying anything. And then when they talk, oh, Mr. President, you're the most amazing president we've ever had. And this is the golden age of America. Yeah, I love the golden age of America. It's like absolutely perfect right now. I'm being
Did you
sarcastic,
see the
obviously.
Jimmy Kimmel spoof?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh, that was hysterical.
yeah. I've tracked Jimmy Kimmel. He's actually, I think he's really funny and he gets under Trump's skin because
Oh,
he
yeah, and
catches.
he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
So
yeah,
my main concern before we get to people's questions was about Paxton. And you took a look-see on both of them. Now, when I threw cards, I didn't see Paxton winning, and his cards weren't good. But the one that was worse was the how do you say his last name?
Talirico.
Talirico. He had worse cards. Almost like he was going to get sick or somebody might try to take him out.
Yeah, see, I have a Talarico's chart. There is a chart for him, a time chart, because someone got his time at a fundraiser, and it kind of makes sense. It looks about right based on his appearance, that the chart matches. But Paxton, just the day of birth is known. And the one thing that has given me a bit of pause, and I got to keep looking at it to see if I can find some difference.
Uh-huh.
But I remember back in the spring when I was pondering Talarico versus Paxton, I thought to myself, no, it would actually be better if you were going against Cornyn, even though all the wisdom was that Cornyn would win easily because Cornyn is an established senator and all that. But in the astrology, it would have been better for Talarico to go against Cornyn than against Paxton because Paxton has one really powerful thing happening around the election, a Jupiter-Mars conjunction that is, worrying me a little bit. And so I got to look at it a little more and see how this thing is developing, because what we don't know is Paxton's birth time, and so there's that, there's that question mark around it. But point I'm
Yeah.
making is that I see that one as really super close. Those that are thinking that it's going to be easy for Talarico, I don't think so. No. And Texas is like that anyway. Texas
Yeah.
is always,
He had a lot of stress cards. And I threw a couple of times. And I'm not going to throw again for a while, but I really want him to win.
yeah. Well, this is what we were saying too, that when all is said and done, if the situation continues along the same line, right now Democrats need four to take the Senate. And they're leading in Alaska through Peltola. They're leading in North Carolina through Cooper. And I think Susan Collins is in trouble with this Plattner guy because,
What about South Carolina?
South Carolina, I don't know that
It's
there's a
not
race
up for
there.
grabs.
I don't think so. No,
Lindsey Graham. No.
no, I don't think so. But they need a fourth, and the fourth can come from Iowa or Ohio or Texas. And they've got good odds in Ohio. Sherrod Brown is good. And remember that the zone we're in right now is not friendly to the Republicans. And when you see a race like this one, where, it looks like Paxton, wiped the floor with Cornyn. He got 800,000 votes and Cornyn only had 500,000. But when you go to the actual, now the election in November between Talarico and Paxton, to win, you got to get 6 million votes. It's like 10 times the number of votes. Way, way more people vote. And they're having a lot of problems with that because the economy is really poor. Trump keeps saying in 2 weeks I'll have the answer. You know, people are getting tired of this, right? It's just, it's never happening. And now it's not funny anymore. Oh yeah, well that's Trump. Yeah, that's Trump, but the gas is really expensive. And odds are good, by the way, that this is going to get worse around the inflation, because we haven't even hit the point yet. According to experts, it's the summer when the prices are likely to
July,
shoot
I
up
heard,
even
is
more.
really bad. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, he can keep saying the opposite, because he, you know, in that North Korea
Well, he
meeting.
wrote today, I have the best polls any president's ever had.
But that's made up, and you know, and he's saying in that they're all telling him, "Oh, this is the golden age of America." Well, are you joking? I mean, come on, this is crazy. It's completely crazy. And so,
Well, it's a golden age for billionaires.
yeah, for billionaires, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure. But I mean, billionaires they're not gonna win you the race, you know.
Right.
So this is the thing that he's become really expert at getting 90% or more of the 30%. So like it's this small group, he gets everybody. But then you put him, like really, Paxton is more risky for him. You know, the astrology aside, even though I said, well, astrologically, I would have preferred Corden. Maybe that's why he lost, and it made it complicated now. But Paxton is more dangerous to them because he might more likely lose because he's a worse candidate. You know,
Yes.
he's more disliked.
And that's why the Republicans are mad at Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And they're mad at Trump also for other reasons. That's the other thing too, because people are always saying Trump gets away with everything. Not that much lately.
Not lately.
Like the thing that he's been winning is these things. He got the wins in Indiana. He got this win getting Paxton in there, but that 1.8 billion thing, they're pushing back, and they're pushing back because they're scared they're going to lose in November, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, listen, I got breaking news just now. A federal judge has ordered the Kennedy Center to remove President Trump's name from the facade, website, letterhead, and official materials. Congress named the center by statute in 1964, and the judge ruled only Congress can change it.
Yeah, and he's been getting, you know, other places where, like, for instance, the pushback in Alabama, judicial decisions, they're not going well. And I would imagine the Supreme Court may bail them out on one or two, but they're also not going to cooperate on every single one. Because there was one there that happened, and they turned them down on, I forget what it was, but I know Alito and Thomas were upset because something about California, and they basically ruled against him. So it's really hostile territory for Trump. And this is like, I had talked about how there was a lull there, you know, like the zone we're in now up to about July should be better. But what's better about this other than the stalling? And
that's horrible.
And it's looking,
we're almost $7 a gallon, Arab. What about how you doing?
6 something. Yeah. The West Coast is always more expensive. No question. So yeah, absolutely.
It's a good thing you grow your own vegetables.
Yeah. No, and then the other thing is having if you have an electric car, that also helps, because then you're not filling up the tank.
Now I have a hybrid.
Well, that's still
But
better.
I worry about an electric car, because if they're like, for example, just what I went through with the fires out here, we were without power for a week and a half. In some places, if you have a natural disaster, there's no power. Where are you going to charge an electric vehicle?
It's true. It's just that, you know, the world is moving in that direction, and I'm starting to notice.
Although you need electricity to pump the gas. So.
Yeah, well, but now you have new battery types, and, you know, that'll probably improve.
Yeah.
So, but like everything, I mean, things take a while, right? We've been talking about some of these cycles that are now showing up, and we were talking about this like 2 years ago, and, you know, it just seems really far away when 2 years ago, Putin was looking victorious. Putin now is in a major struggle because the planets are really against him, you know, and all the stuff that's coming out.
You said that.
It's so hilarious that Trump and Vance at the beginning of the year, you know, telling Zelensky, you don't have the cards, Well, actually, it's the beginning of when they first came in, so it's more than a year ago. Remember they were saying you don't have the cards? Now he's got the cards. He's the one with the cards. And the other guy's in the bunker, you know, he keeps hiding out because he's worried. They're actually hitting Moscow regularly and hitting all their energy facilities. And, you know, it's gotten to be a really complicated war. So much so that now the the prevailing wisdom is that Ukraine is like the teacher to America of military tactics and strategy because they figured it out because they're fighting for their lives, right? So,
Right, right.
yeah, exactly.
So,
So-
so Trump's astrological chart is looking worse as time goes on this year.
Particularly from July forward, it's just a
Yeah,
constant problem.
I
And
keep thinking July. I had it down on my calendar, and I think I got that from you.
yeah,
And
July,
NASA,
the only thing with July though is that it says the same. I always warn people about this. Yes, he's got a problem and he's got problems later, but you're going to have problems too because of this guy. You know, the way he's
oh, I
doing
know.
things, it's creating problems for everybody, not to mention that he's damaging all the relations in the Middle East and Europe. I mean, it's a total disaster as far as, you know, American alliances. And it's going to take a while to repair that because, yeah, countries are going to say, well, how do we know you're not going to elect another idiot? I mean, you know,
Exactly.
we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So Scale wrote, she said, I just heard the DOJ is now opening an investigation into E. Jean Carroll.
that's
She
desperation.
lied about someone helping her to pay her attorney fees. You're using the wrong verbiage, my friend. Listen to what was said. They said she lied about not having an outside person help her with her fees. Apparently, she was running out of money. She started the thing doing it herself. Then they were running out of money. And then a big Democrat contributor gave the attorneys the money to keep going. And the attorneys actually petitioned the court and said, we have this person that's offering, can we go ahead? And the judge said yes. So how is that she lied?
It's E. Jean Carroll it's very similar to Jim Comey, Letitia James. They're just grasping at straws, you know.
Yeah.
This guy, Blanche, is more willing to do it, but he's getting nowhere with that. By the way, he's resurrecting the same thing again. He's resurrecting the fact that he's a sexual abuser because that's what it's about, right? He was convicted
Yes.
in that. So you bring that up, that's going to get talked about constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was that case where this happened. The jury decided this, then they awarded her another 80 million. Of course, he's trying to do everything he can not to pay it.
Position. I think he went to the Supreme Court and they said, no, you got to pay her.
Yeah, and it's back in the news. And that's the other thing. July, one of the things that happens in July is the ERIS summer station, because ERIS stations in January and July kind of every year. It's the way it's doing this thing, right? So we've noticed every time when those months or near those months, because this year, for a while, I thought nothing was happening in January. Then it surfaced again. There was lots of Epstein material. It's going to happen again in July. Just watch. And I bet you this will be part of it again, the thing with E. Jean Carroll, and not in a good way. And he's got so much going on that sometimes people say, well, look, it's just so bad. There's so many things that no one can even keep track. That's fine. I mean, I don't care about that. Let the guy be hit in 50 different directions because that is more likely to take him down.
I just got a psychic hit. Someone just said to me that she'll have permission to go into his accounts and take the money.
Well, then that would be
because
cool.
he's not paying her. So I see a judge saying, well, go take it.
Well, from your lips to the powers that
a
be.
lot of money, but you know,
yeah,
they do that though. If you get a judgment against you, they do that.
No, I mean, he can't. The thing with this guy is that one thing is for sure is that he's never going to see the end of, in his life, he'll never see the end of women in different places torturing him. He can't get away from that because that planet is locked in permanently. So there's no way out. You know, one way or another.
He shouldn't have been ugly.
Happen. And the problem that he has is that he now, you know, he's kind of, I think he's a bit desperate. It's why he's doing these things, you know, constantly mentioning Obama and bringing up E. Jean Carroll. There are ways to somehow restore his domination and his power because he doesn't have any right now because he's looking like a fool because he set it up. He created this thing now where Iran can just sit there, you know. I mean, I bet that he was told, I'm 100% guarantee he was told this. Got to be careful with Iran because unlike in the US, they don't need to respond to the public. They can keep everybody in a suffering situation and just wait it out and wait until you break because you're in a hurry. You don't like the gas prices being high. So then you can't continue this fighting now.
Yeah.
It'll make things worse, right?
Exactly.
And then the other guy that is suffering is Netanyahu, because he wanted Trump to continue, but Trump doesn't want to continue now.
Oh, he said on
yeah.
TV, it may not be him, it might be fake, but he said, him and somebody else said, Trump can't stop the Iran war unless we approve.
Yeah, sure.
But in the meantime, Iran is hitting Israel left and right.
Now it's not a good scene. I would say Netanyahu is going to go down, because Netanyahu, you could see it a year ago, 2 years ago. He's got a lot of Libra planets. That is not a good situation in this kind of mess. Now, some politicians can survive that, and even when you're good, that's not a good scene, having a planet like Saturn oppose you at a moment when you're asking the public to approve. But right now, in the midst of something where he's kind of stuck too. He was the one that promoted all this, but now there's no end to it, and Israel is razor thin. They've got a very, very divided electorate. So the polls would say they approve of fighting Iran because they don't like Iran, justifiably. But even so, the Netanyahu is not popular enough, to get the over 50% that he needs. Yeah.
And wasn't him and Putin a lot alike?
Yes, Putin, same thing. People with a lot of Libra planets. By the way, if you're Libra out there, don't project and start saying, my life is going to fall apart. Your life falls apart based on the things you're doing. So if you start wars with countries, or whatever, something that you've done, then it's a problem. Otherwise, no. Actually, Saturn periods can be the most important in moving your life forward in some direction.
Mine was wonderful. Yeah.
Like a lot of people, like this, their life moves forward because they're pushed back. They're forced to do something new. But that doesn't mean it's going to be your fate just because you have Saturn, happening in your chart during this period. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I don't know if you looked at Mark Wayne Mullen. He's the Homeland Security guy. He's going to shut down Customs and Border Protection officers from processing international flights at LAX and other sanctuary city airports. If this is enacted, this policy will effectively halt all international passengers, which also we're having some big event, right? That international people are supposed, soccer event. Oh, Iran gets to stay in Mexico. The president of Mexico said, you guys are welcome to stay here, because Trump won't let them stay in for the soccer thing. But,
although, but
I feel they're going to fight this tooth and nail. I see America fighting this.
I mean, the one problem that could develop, and maybe it won't, because you have to advance to the next round. But if Iran advances, they're going to end up having to play in a U.S. city sooner or later, because right now I'm not sure how that works. I got to look up, see where their dates are. But, nothing would surprise me around it creating a big problem in July, because the astrology then is pretty tough. And this is where, remember I was telling you that there's got to be at least one, maybe two more people that are going to lose their jobs in that cabinet. There are too many people there that are in a super high pressure. Patel, RFK, Gabbard already went down. You could see it coming, although she made the choice herself. But and Stephen Miller has been invisible.
They may have got rid of her, and then she used her husband having cancer, because she's that type of person that would know her husband had cancer and wasn't going to step down.
But then uses
I just feel like she's that type of person. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing too is when things are going really badly, one way to, Trump's trick of kicking the can down the road is to change, to, start firing people, because that way his thing is always, how do I get control of the 24-hour news cycle? He's always got to be on top of it. But sometimes they're bad moves, because you make a move that looks good today and then it backfires, later.
Yeah.
When you realize, you get in a jam. And what he's done here, I mean, this is like the perfect proof of how much of an idiot this man is. I'm sorry. You're seeing him do what he's always done with his businesses. He makes these moves where he's not thinking clearly about the outcome. And then, then he ends up spending money, wasting money, and going bankrupt. And he's doing it to the country now, He's
right. And he thought Iran would be easy peasy. He thought he would go in like Argentina or Venezuela and take out the top, do a regime change. Hell no.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do think he's going to go into Cuba, though.
It's possible. It's possible, but anything. The whole point to this is that when the zone you're in is this complicated, like it is for him, even if you get something, I bet anything, even with Cuba, there are going to be side issues, things that'll pop in and make him look bad. He thinks again, oh, they're easy. We'll just go in there. Nothing is easy. These maneuvers are hard, hard, hard. This is the history of warfare. We're not living in the 12th century.
And the equipment we've lost, they hit two of our boats with fuel who were trying to go through the strait without permission. Iran hit them both. And
Yeah.
they've gotten a whole bunch of our drones and planes, and we're losing equipment.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a dicey situation. With Mullen, I remember that I had looked at this. It's another chart with no birth time, but just based on the day. This guy gives me more of a feeling, though, of maybe next year. Well, let's see, 1144. He's in a zone right now. Yeah, he's in a controversial zone right now, but I don't know if it's enough, for him to lose his job. That might take a while, Like he
Well,
wouldn't
the
be
other thing is they say they're pulling it so they can keep the Ebola out of the country. They want them to work at the ice places and all that. But here's the thing. I feel like there's going to be a lot of lawsuits on this.
Yeah, and it's also not a good look. It's the kind of thing
if you
where,
only hit Democratic cities.
yeah, and the look of people finding out that there are these concentration camps, and one of the things they're doing that is just awful. It's the same argument for not having. Remember, we talked about this, not having private prisons, because then if you give these centers and prisons to private enterprise, then they have an incentive to keep more people in there. Even, it's like the idea is we got to keep them in there because they're paying us for each person. So it's no longer about whether they're guilty or not.
And they pack them in.
And I think it was something like a small percentage are actual criminals, and then the majority are not criminals. They haven't done anything. They're just people that it could be illegal, but they're not criminals. And so this is one of the ways he's lost the Hispanic vote completely, because they thought, they believed him. Never believe this guy because he's a liar. It's the truth. They believed him when he said, oh, we only want to find the criminals. He's going after everybody,
Yeah,
everybody.
Just grabbing him. He needs the numbers.
Yeah, and the one that I'm really keeping an eye on is Stephen Miller, because in July there's a direct hit, one of those.
Ooh, thank you.
And he's been pretty mysteriously absent for quite a while. I think they took away his powers, like after that thing that happened in Minnesota. So
I blabbed and told a total lie, and then somebody said he's ugly. So I think his wife said something about his looks, and she was on TV today crying because everybody says he's ugly. Well, if the shoe fits.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you one thing. Talk about ugly, talk about energy that is ugly. I mean, this guy, like this hateful.
And he's a midget too.
And total garbage. He says things like the complete opposite of what is true. He said something like, the immigrants are responsible for the American debt. It's completely backward. The immigrants have contributed to bringing down the American debt. It's the total opposite of what he says. I mean, this is one of the tricks that Trump and his minions are constantly doing. They tell you the ceiling is the floor and the floor is the ceiling, over and over and over. They keep repeating it.
Well, if you notice, when Trump first came in and he was doing all those executive orders, remember, people were like, and then he was asking for Canada, he wanted Greenland, and he was pompous as hell. And then slowly but surely, the court started to knock him down. No, you can't. Just now, you can't have your name up on the Kennedy Center. And then he's not going out there that far, except that Iran thing was totally uncalled for. Do you know if Biden did that without talking to Congress, he would have been crucified.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the standards are totally different. One thing I just checked with Mullen again really quickly, though. Mullen does have a problem in September. So it's possible that he ends up getting caught in something as well. There's a point there which is risky. So yeah, there are so many. The people around them have all these pressures, and he's guaranteed it. By the way he's done this, he's guaranteed that they're all going to be under pressure because it's not defensible. You know, you really can't.
Yeah.
You can't make a good case. So
Have you looked at Pam Bondi at all?
not recently, because once she left, you know, but she's still in the. Let me pull her up for a second.
She
here to
did.
see it.
Today they questioned her. She would not go under oath, and she was very belligerent.
She was belligerent today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome to that. Yeah. She. Okay. So Bondi. That this is where. This is an example of astrology. Actually, it's a good example because she left a while back, and the problem she was she has Mars and Venus in Capricorn. Mars is at 2.5, Venus is at 12.25. So her problem was the Mars, the early planet. That was when she got in more and more trouble and eventually had to leave. Now Saturn is squaring Venus, which is why she's back in the news, and she's also under a lot of tension for the next, I would say, 10 days or so. And really the rest of the year isn't particularly good for her either. I don't know what it would be, though, because now she's out of government. Unless maybe she might make this big mistake, you know, because right now Saturn is squaring. If she perjures herself, then, because this is going to come back. The Saturn is going to come back and run over those degrees. So she's not safe until at least next spring, right? So if they implicate her in something.
I see her getting her law license revoked.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. Yeah, because if they pin some kind of perjury on her, she could lose her law license. But yeah, this is the classic thing where you see a person is in the background, and then when Saturn moves in, then you get this development where I'm sure it was really uncomfortable for her. They probably, you know, went after her pretty hard.
But you didn't see any bad stuff with that thyroid cancer, right?
For who?
Bondi has thyroid cancer.
She does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When was that?
Right after she got fired, she found out she had thyroid cancer.
Okay, well, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Well, put it this way. Normally, thyroid cancer is treatable.
Yeah.
But that would also she probably has to have surgery or do something like that.
Yeah.
This chart until next spring, like way into at least into the middle of the spring, is not in a good place. It's in a suffering pattern. But I don't know 100% if, you know, she might eventually disappear from the scene and not be, you know, pursued anymore. That's also possible. But the next 9 months, 10 months, not good. Not good at all. Yeah.
So I always saw the FBI guy who you're not seeing at all, Cross-eyed McGee.
Patel.
I see him going, and I see Trump being furious at whoever the guy's in charge of the Army, Navy. What's his name?
Oh, Hexeth.
Yeah, Hog's Breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see him going down, and Trump will blame things on him.
Well,
remember when they hit Poland?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Trump was furious. They said you could hear him screaming. He told them, "What the hell are you doing? Why would you hit Poland?"
Or wasn't it that they hit her? They removed soldiers, right? They removed.
No, this was some sort of hit. We were hitting a bunch of people.
Oh, and then by mistake they hit Poland?
By mistake, yeah.
Well, I mean, look, with Hexeth, first of all, the astrology of RFK, Patel, and Hexeth is not good. It's very challenging going into, like, they're like, in a sense, similar to Bondi, but for different reasons, because Bondi's problem is probably in the near term more health related, and maybe later it catches up with her. But these guys, they've got a problem immediately, like July, like maybe even by June, but July, August, September, none of that is good.
Not good. Oh, I love it.
It's very complicated, yeah.
And how about Elon Musk? Have you taken a look at his
He's
chart?
another one, yeah. Elon Musk, I'm kind of waiting, because Elon Musk, and see, this is the thing, I don't know what is it about July that says something, because Musk has Saturn problems in July as well, and he's been free of it for quite some time. He's had a pretty easy ride. But now he's in a tricky zone, when we go into the summer, and that's another one that lasts well into next year. Same with Tucker Carlson too. He's another one that has
that has
planetary
issues.
pressures.
Because I always felt, and I could be wrong, Elon Musk, you see him walking, he's got ketamine eyes and his head's twirling. And I've often thought he could be somebody that gets found dead because of his drug use.
Well, I'll tell you where the astrology of that comes in. The astrology of that is that he's Cancer, sun sign with Cancer rising, Mercury in Cancer. The ascendant degrees and Mercury, they're exactly where Saturn is going to park in July. But the danger is he has at birth Saturn in the health house, in the hospital house, opposite Neptune. So that planet, as it's traveling, and especially as you age, and especially if you do what he's doing, because Saturn Neptune would be what an astrologer would say to you: don't do drugs or intoxicants, because that's dangerous to you. He's doing the opposite. And ketamine is really strong. Ketamine you got to be careful with. So entirely possible that we get into the summer and you hear about a major health event. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
that's what I've been feeling.
Yeah.
So,
no question.
Somebody's asking this question, which astrology related you couldn't really answer. What will happen with the media, conservative, once the new Democratic governor takes control? I just see them doing the same thing, putting out fake news on the Democrats.
Once the new Democratic, you mean the president?
Once the new Democratic House comes in,
they're not.
How will the conservative treats us? They'll still do their waving their handkerchief.
No, I mean I think that by 28, then you get a more of a realignment where almost certainly they're going to reject all this, and then they'll adapt in some ways, but I'm not sure. It might take longer than that for them to start being more normal, in quotes, because so far they're totally in with Trump. They keep, they're happy to lie and make up things and hide things from the public and so forth. But when you lose elections, then people adapt, right? It's like the same with a guy like Bezos. If there's a Democratic president, he's going to start saying something different than he's saying now. But right now, there's a Republican president, and he said something like, "Oh, Trump is more disciplined now than in the last term." That's a joke.
Way out to the now.
Yeah.
Did you look at Kamala Harris? Is she going to run again, or I didn't see that.
That she's not. You saw that she's not going to run?
Yeah, I saw that she's not going to run.
Well,
she was talking about maybe she would run for president again. I don't see it.
Well, the thing about it is that Kamala has a very good chart going into 28, for sure. Her chart is very good, but it's not as
Gavin
good.
Newsom.
But Newsom's is better. It's better than hers. So my feeling is that maybe what will happen is she'll get a job in that administration. She'll get something.
Oh, he might make her attorney general. Who knows?
That would be good revenge. Yeah, for sure.
When I had my lucid dream, you know who I saw as Secretary of the State? I could be wrong. It was a dream. Was Pete Buttigieg.
Buttigieg, Secretary of State?
Secretary of State.
Well,
and he's talking to other nations, trying to get some healing going on for what Trump did to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, those are the Kamala, Buttigieg, Newsom. They have a big bench. I mean, there are a lot of people with talent in the Democratic Party, and he's a really smart guy. Every time I see him, he gets into a scrap with Republicans on Fox News, or even I saw him on CNBC. He was arguing with this finance guy who was trying to defend Trump, and Buttigieg kept pointing out, "No, you're making things up." And this. And Buttigieg also said to him, "I've been in the army, and the worst thing you can do to a person in the army is have a leader who isn't clear about what you should be doing or why you're doing it. That's how you damage morale and so forth." So he's a very good communicator.
That's great.
He's always dangerous to these guys because he sees through their lies and he calls them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
have you taken a look at Ghislaine Maxwell?
Not recently, but I know her chart is in my memory.
Yeah.
She's got a ton of Capricorn planets in the 8th house, and I don't think she's getting out of prison anytime soon. Sorry.
Yeah, because I feel like they want to, but I feel like it's too explosive.
It's too explosive, and so she might maybe in the 2 years. Like, well, put it this way: if Trump disappears, like really disappears, she's not getting out of prison. She's never going to get out of
Oh
prison.
yeah, she's
So,
gonna have to stay.
very, very unlikely. Like a lot of this stuff that you're seeing, all this insanity, where he's proposing giving money, to the Proud Boys and
That's
to
being
the
held up. Yeah.
that's all Trump. The second this guy isn't around, which could happen between now and 28, because the thing is, like Musk, both have that Saturn circulating from a house where you go to the hospital. And trust me when I tell you that that is the hospital house. That's what happened to you, by the way. That was your thing, that you were both a nurse and you were having a serious problem because of that house, right? So these people are not immune, and Trump is 80 years old now. For those people that say, well, no, he's still whatever, he looks unhealthy to me. He looks like he's
bad. He kind of hunches like this.
Yeah.
And they said that way his chin is can be a sign of heart disease.
Well, and by the way, one of the signs that the 12th house is operating is, I think this is his 3rd or 4th time that he's been to do a medical assessment. Because you got to ask yourself, why is that happening?
Well, there's something they're keeping an eye on.
Right. That means you're going to the clinic repeatedly. Well, you go to the clinic until one day you go to the clinic and you might not get out, or you might have something that you get out, but who knows what's happened to you, right? So it's really risky. And this cannot help him. Think about him. He's this braggart, hyperbolic, liar, whatever. But he knows that he's got a big problem here. That's not good for your health. And then what do? You're all stressed out, and then bring in the McDonald's meal, bring in the ice cream. And like, how is this going to...
And he passes out while he's sitting there. In the meantime, they made vicious fun of Biden.
Yeah, no, I know. Although that's another thing.
I just saw an interview with Jill Biden, and she said when they had the debate with Trump and Biden, she said she watched her husband and was thinking, oh my God, he's having a stroke. But he wasn't, but she thought he was.
Well, the only problem Jill Biden has is that, political people are funny. They seem to forget that they're always on camera, right? And there's video of her after the debate saying to Joe, oh, you gave all the right answers. It was perfect. And now she's saying, no, he couldn't have, because he was obviously... So, like, which is it? So, when people call you out, you don't look very good. Let's just face it, right? So,
typical, yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly. Do you have a chart for NATO?
I think there's one around, but NATO, that's never been a chart that I've looked at and thought, okay, this chart tells me something. Like, whenever I see charts that don't match up with what appears to be happening, I trust them less. Let me see if I...
Yeah. But someone's asking about the Romania attack from a Russian drone. I think...
okay, I have a chart from NATO here.
I don't see anything more with NATO from Russia.
Well, NATO right now, the chart that I have, but I don't remember. I'd have to now go back and find out why. This is the chart that they cite. It's April 4th, 1949, 4:52 p.m. So this chart, it's under pressure because it's lots of Aries, in the chart. Yeah. And Saturn is in Aries, so especially in July, that's a point of really high pressure. I wonder what that would be, though. I can't really think of the reason why it might be. But NATO is under pressure right now. Let's face it, because of the U.S. The U.S. is causing all these problems for NATO.
Somebody just asked, is Talirico a Zionist? No, he's a Catholic.
Well, Zionist, but I think maybe the person is asking if Talirico is a supporter of Israel. I think he might be.
He is
because some people are not, but I think he might be. I can't remember now. But no, he definitely is not overtly. I think the question is meant to, let me just see here, is Talirico a supporter of Israel. I think he is. Because that's it. Now it's building into a big problem. Because it says he's not a straightforward supporter. He has adopted a strongly critical stance toward Israel's conduct in Gaza and U.S. military support. So no, if anything, he'd be the opposite. But that's a major problem right now in the U.S. because the country's split down the middle like so many other things where many people are really pro-Israel. And then you have a wing now, which is the one that Tucker Carlson keeps trying to agitate. Tucker Carlson is very anti-Israel. He keeps saying that Israel is the country that keeps getting the America into wars.
But that's about ready to change. As soon as Netanyahu's gone, a lot of changes will take place.
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. And Netanyahu, I think he's at the end of his rope, you know. Yeah.
And then the last question is, Aaron Parnas reported that Peter Thiel has moved to Argentina. Did you ever look at Peter?
You know, he's one that not extensively, no. In fact, I don't think I have a chart. Maybe I do, let's see. But he's another one that there was no time. And I think when I look at a chart and I don't get anything from just today, then I stop looking. Also, Thiel is kind of in the background. You know, people they assign all kinds of powers to this guy. Like what does Peter Thiel do? That is so...
No. He has money, that's it.
Yeah. Isn't Peter Thiel is friends with Musk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look here. Peter Thiel. Yeah, he's another one that, let's see, 8 degrees. He's not happy either until well into next year. He's in a tricky zone. It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't even think about Thiel, you know, helping in any way he's like in the back.
A lot of people ask the same question about Talirico and Paxton. People are really nervous.
Well, yeah. I mean, but remember that if Talirico is able to beat Paxton, I would say right now it's like a 50-50 thing because they both have, you know, the charts there are strengths on both sides. But that would probably tell you that Democrats will get the Senate back for sure because Iowa and Ohio are looking pretty dangerous too. The whole country is turning on these guys, you know. There are all kinds of places where when you see elections going to the Democrats in places that are really red, and then a Republican will say, oh yeah, but that's just like a small race. When we go to the big race, we'll win. Yeah, you'll win. The problem is that you guys are making all these problems for the ordinary citizens through gas and prices, and they may turn on you. That's how politics works, you know?
Exactly.
You can easily get a wave situation right now in November, even if they're able to maybe lose 5 seats less or something in the House, but it's looking pretty grim for them, for the House, for sure. And the Senate is usually worse because the Senate, everybody votes. The whole state, there's no district that everybody shows up. And I think what they've done with the House districts is making more people angry and more people are going to vote in the Senate this time around.
You saw what they wanted to do to South Carolina, and the line was out around the block of people saying, no, we're going to vote now. And that's when they changed their mind of redistricting and trying to get rid of what's-his-face's seat.
Clyburn, he's still, and they're not going to do that.
No.
Yeah, and Alabama's in the courts. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. That, depending on what the Supreme Court does, you know, because I think they're appealing it to the Supreme Court.
You'll definitely have Thomas and Alito voting no, but the rest will vote. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, my friend.
All right, that was good. We'll meet again soon. The news moves quickly these days. I think the next big thing now is going to be this deal, which he's getting all this pressure from all the hawks because they realize that he's setting it up perfectly for Iran to stall and delay. And he was saying the key thing is they cannot have a nuclear weapon. And according to what I hear, the deal says we'll talk about that in the next 60 days. Well, wait a second. I thought that was the top level deal.
Whatever they tell us is a lie.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this, by the way, it all fits with the thing for me that's encouraging is when I'm seeing that the planet patterns fit with what is happening, then I relax, because otherwise, if I'm seeing pressure and it isn't happening, this fits exactly. I didn't know. If you asked me last November, what's going to make all this pressure in 26 for Trump? I didn't know that he was going to start a war with Iran.
Jesus
I had no
Christ.
idea. But he's such a genius at creating the problem. He created the mess. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We'll say
All
goodbye
right,
for
my
now.
friend.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye, everyone.